My name's Kevin Barhydt. I'm the author of Dear Stephen, Michael's Mother. And the way I usually introduce myself is say, my name is Kevin Barhydt. My name is also Stephen Michael. I was adopted when I was born. I spent a couple of months in foster care and then was adopted by the family that I have known all my life. My mother's 92 now. My adoptive father passed away about 11 years ago. But the adoption itself was a what we call a primal wound, but it's not something that a baby is aware of or can speak of. And even as the years went by, the adoption wasn't something that I understood, I think, as being an issue, a painful issue, a trauma, as I know it now. And over the years, many things happened. When I was 9, I was molested. When I was 11, I started drinking. And many of these things really turned into a treacherous landscape for me. The molestation continued, and I was raped when I was a teenager. The alcohol and the drug use really turned into a lifestyle, and one that we all know very well. One where I OD'd, one where I ended up in the back of police cars, and one where I lost everything. And the adoption never seemed to be an underlying cause to anything. It never seemed to be an underlying issue, although everyone would ask me, are you behaving this way because you're adopted? And of course, I was reflecting back to them, I think, in many ways, what I had been told all my life. We love you. That's why we adopted you. And adoption's a good thing. And you're happy you're adopted, aren't you? And my parents and my family and teachers and friends all thought that adoption was a wonderful thing. From an adoptee's perspective, it can be awfully devastating. The first thing I had to deal with was really the decoupling of myself from the addiction. The second thing was the child sexual abuse. That really took a lot to delve into. And it wasn't until many years later that I actually faced the ramifications of the abandonment and the adoption itself. And what I needed to do was understand that that sense of abandonment, that sense of being not wanted, really reduced my understanding of my own value. Why was I even here? My mother didn't even want me. The work that I've done over the past years have been pretty gruesome at times, really painful. Didn't think I would make it through. Much of it, I think, was more of a spiritual growth to understand my value and my worth in this world and this planet and this universe. I didn't think I had any worth. I didn't think I had any value, but I know I do now. And much of the work I had to do was through therapy, through reading a book called The Primal Wound, which was very helpful by Nancy Verrier. A lot of it really was through working with other adoptees, other birth mothers, and other adoptive families that had struggled in the same way I did. There's a saying in the 12-step groups that I go to, an alcoholic alone is in bad company, or an addict alone is in bad company, you know? And I agree with that. And I can place that into a child sexual abuse survivor alone is in bad company. An adoptee alone is in bad company, especially when we haven't healed, especially we're in the midst of the addiction or the struggling with the abuse, or we're in the midst of really struggling with that low worth from the adoption and the abandonment. And I found that growing through that allows me to find value in my life, allows me to find worth, and doing it with other people is very necessary. But I will follow that up with doing it with a higher power in my life, doing it with a sense of real relationship to my creator, real value to where I came from and why I'm supposed to be here, has been really the critical turning point for me. I don't want to do this alone. I'm not going to do this alone. Being in company like we are now with other people, listening to other people's story, not just because they were successful, not just because they made it through and they're just the pinnacle of, in their world now and they've done so well, but because they've actually gone through the struggle and they're here with you. Doing that, I think, has really been something I would recommend others. Something I would say, maybe the only advice I would give is, again, don't do this alone. Recognize that the two of us, maybe just me and you right now, can grow more than we ever thought possible if we just take this step together, hold hands, talk to each other, trust each other. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be lonely at times. It's going to feel confusing. And sometimes people will let us down. But then we reach out to the next person and the next. And the community that I've gathered around me and that I'm a part of, these many communities now, they lift me up. But my job is to be a part of that community and lift them up. and recognize that no matter how much you've struggled, no matter how bad you feel, no matter how far down you've gone, you have something of value to give and people are waiting for it. So it's not just what you can get from being with other people, it's what you can give and how you can participate.